Good morning. Welcome back to episode 7 of That Morning Cup. Cheers. The other day I did some writing, just collecting my thoughts and not deciding some things, but trying to gather my thoughts on certain things, what my motivations are moving forward and what not. Now, my motivations used to be very I shouldn't say dark, but I would say they inherently have some negative energy to them, right? It was, I'm going to show these people, I want to be the best at this. There was a lot of, this is a hard word that I'm looking for here. I wouldn't say resilience. Obviously there's resilience in things, but specifically talking about fitness, a lot of my motivations were I'm going to show these people, and these people are preying on my failure and whatnot, which is so self-conceited and crazy to even say, because am I that important that people really care about whether I succeed or not? Nobody's really preying on your downfall. I think that is a very conceited thing to think, and a self-aggrandizing. I'm not that important to have people that are preying on my downfall or whatnot. But I was listening to Chris Williamson a couple months ago. I think it might have been one of his vlogs, and he was talking about how that's really good. So to get off the launch pad, that's really good fuel to get yourself going. Is I'm gonna show them. I'm gonna work harder than everybody else. Yada yada yada. I'm gonna beat this person and that person, and that's great at getting you off the launch pad. And like he says, he makes a comparison that it's like a rocket. And once you escape the atmosphere, then the launch pad, the launch section of the spaceship falls off, and then you have the propulsion. It's like, what's the fuel? The fuel changes on the ship as it gets farther into space. And I think I'm hitting that point, not that I've really achieved anything great, but I've been lifting 6 years and pushing myself to live as healthy as I can for the past couple of years here. And a lot of it was that was my fuel. But I've noticed the past year or two, that same fuel isn't sufficient. It doesn't suffice anymore to keep me going. So I really had to break down, okay, what's my motivation to be strong, be fit, eat clean, whatnot. Now that I'm older and I'm deeper into this, and those pre-existing fuel sources don't work, or they're just not as effective anymore, because as you grow as a person, you should hope that when you hit a certain level, that you're beyond the need for that, right? You're beyond the need for, I need to show these people, I need this. It's like I'm to the point where I really don't care what people think of the way I look or competing with anybody. I'm very competitive with myself now, genuinely competitive with myself. I want to be better than I was the month before, the year before, whatnot. So I had to switch up my drives, my motivations, my inspirations, and whatnot. And I kind of came to an belief that I think I can't be so cut and dry on it, and black and white on it. But I'm going to say it, and it's going to sound crazy, but I really don't think we should praise people for being in shape or whatnot, or being consistent with their workouts and all that. Not that we have to put them down or anything, and we can give people their flowers, oh, congrats, man, you look great, and whatnot. But I think we put a lot of emphasis on people's physiques, how much they go to the gym, and we think if somebody goes to the gym consistently and they have this great body, they're so successful or whatnot. But that's, I mean, take me for example, that's not true, right? Because somebody could be so one-faceted. Like, yes, you could have a great body, but like be broke, you know? And you need to be able to make the distinction between like, okay, there's times that at the gym, the amount of time I spend in the gym and whatnot needs to slow down because there's other more important things to focus on at the end of the day. And I don't think that you should completely, like when work starts to get busy and all that, just completely draw back your gym time and make the excuse of, oh, I'm so busy, I don't have time to get my fitness in. Because I think you can go for a little run after work, before work. You always have a half an hour to squeeze in some fitness. But we can't put so much emphasis on the scale of a person's success based solely off just their physique, their fitness, and whatnot, because everything else around their life can be crumbling. Like I think that I was one of them. I was a degenerate gym goer, and I thought as long as I get a good workout in the day and nothing else, I had a successful day, and that's not true at all. Just going to the gym and doing nothing else will get you nowhere in life. And if that's just your only focus, have your passions, yes. But if your only focus is having a good workout and you don't really hold yourself accountable or you're not disciplined in any other facet of life, you're going to go nowhere. That was a really hard pill for me to swallow because I was so obsessed with the gym. And I'm still equally obsessed. But I'm smarter. I'm using the gym more moderation, right? If work was running late on a day and I was like, oh man, I might not be able to make the gym, that would like ruin my day, or I would like half-ass a job or something, admittedly, to ensure I got to the gym. And that's not good for business, or just that's not good for success. At the end of the day, as much as you might not like it, money rules the world, right? And to live a certain type of life that you so desire, you need the money to do it. And there's sacrifice that has to come to achieve that. I want to own a house one day, and I want to own the house I want to own one day. I want to be able to take care of Matea. And if we have future kids and that, I want to be able to take care of them. And I want to be comfortable financially. And yes, that sucks that you got to work so hard to get this money and whatnot. And money kind of rules everything, but it's a pill we all got to swallow, right? And I don't need some big mansion or nothing, but I want a nice plot of land in the woods where I could go and hunt after work and whatnot, and have bedrooms for every kid and, you know, a nice garage. Nothing too extravagant, but just the life I want to live. And I had to come to the realization spending hours and hours and hours at the gym after work is not going to get me there. And at the end of the day, spending that much time in the gym, it's the law of diminishing return. You really need 45 minutes. As long as your diet's in check and you're doing resistance training and you're pushing your body to failure, you know, you're taking 5 sets to failure, you're going to be just fine, right? And even if your body needs to take a hit for a couple weeks or a couple months, it's all about phases. And I think you can maintain a really nice body and a pretty considerable level of fitness, more than the average person, with a couple hours a week. Nothing too crazy. And you could switch hobbies around in that if you run out of time, like on your weekends. Instead of maybe sitting and watching a football game or whatnot, you instead pick up hiking or whatever. You can make fitness fun. But back to my claim before, I don't think we should put so much praise and vanity on people with crazy physiques. If they have nothing going on around them, right? Now, obviously, if that's your job, then it's advantageous for you to be in the gym and focusing solely on that if you're a professional fucking bodybuilder. But if you're just an average Joe, you could do what you want to do fitness wise, but you need to make sure that you're also checking off other boxes in other aspects of your life. So now, where did I arrive to in my writing? I need to not look at going to the gym as like, oh, that's a win, because it's selfish at the end of the day, and it's a good kind of selfish. You're doing something to ensure you're healthy and hopefully give you the best chance of having a long life, right? And it's not so selfish or not so selfish in the aspect of like, now a big motivation for me is I go to the gym so I can remain healthy, I can remain fit, I can remain strong in case the loved ones around me require or need me to be fit or strong or whatever. In extreme cases, house burns down or whatnot, I got to take them somewhere safe or whatever, those crazy things. But it's a motivation for sure. And the ultimate motivation is just I want to be around for many, many, many years, and be able to run around with my future kids and, live a long time with Matea and just my sisters and, parents and whatnot. So it's kind of, it's selfless in that aspect for them, like I'm doing it for them, but it's selfish in aspect. I'm also doing it for me. I enjoy it. It's something just as a human being you should do. It's not, that's why I'm saying we shouldn't praise people and give them all this vanity like, oh, congratulations, you went to the gym and did something healthy for yourself. Like, this is where it gets extreme, because it's like, yes, we want to reward people for doing good. Like, I hope that everybody at some point in their life gets inspired to become fit and take care of their body, which in turn takes care of your mind. But we can't hold anybody higher than some other person just because they go to the gym, because in the grand scheme of things, somebody with a lot of money or a lot of just power, so to say, just somebody living a life where they have the house they want, the vehicles they want, they're happy in a marriage, they have kids, but they might be out of shape, but they have the money and all that. They're living a better life than somebody that's in great shape, that has no money, hasn't met anybody, or just is kind of a hermit and all they do is the gym. They don't have anything going for themselves besides the gym. So we need to be careful of just praising that, because that's not going to get people anywhere, right? And like I said, that was a hard pill for me to swallow, because I love the gym. It's something I love to do. And I could spend hours and hours and hours at it. But that's not getting me or my loved ones anywhere in life. So it's something I had to reel back in a little bit. Not spend so much time there, but spend better time there. Be more effective overall. This sounds nuts, but it's how I feel, right? And now how I'm taking it is like, when I go to the gym, congrats, CJ, you did it today. You went to the gym. But if I don't do anything else besides that, that's not a successful day. And I can't look at it like that, right? It's like if I didn't read or I didn't give my 100% that day at work, like then it's a fucking failure. It's a failure of a day. Because like nobody cares if you have big pecs. The bank isn't going to fucking care. You go to get a loan, they're not going to be like, oh, this dude's in great shape, giving him the loan. No, they don't care. They come to repo your car because you haven't paid it because you have no money. They're not going to care. And just, you can't earn the respect from people just because of your body. And I don't think that attracts people necessarily. And I'm not just saying physical, like sexual attraction, but just, you got to be interesting in life. You got to be able to think. You need to be able to problem solve. You need to be able to speak well. It can't just be the gym. So, my motivation moving forward is it's kind of just something you do. At this point, I don't really need motivation to go to the gym or to continue to eat healthy or be fit. It's not something I should even really think about. It's just like, oh yeah, it's what I do. As a human, it's what you should just do, because you're if you are blessed enough to have working limbs, and be healthy enough to subject yourself to the punishment of the gym and that physical training, you should take advantage of that. And it just makes you feel good, so why wouldn't you do it? That's the way I'm cracking this, is it makes you feel good. So why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you do something that makes you feel good? And I don't want people to be like, oh my God, he's so motivated. He's so disciplined. He goes to the gym 6 days a week and he trains so hard. And it's like, yeah, don't praise anybody for that. Give him a pat on the back. Be like, yeah, good job. You look great. I'm glad you're healthy. That's inspiring. Maybe I'm going to go out and become healthy as well because of it. But don't hold anybody's value higher than the next man's just because they're in shape and they go to the gym a lot. Lips are busted from work. Shout out Taya for your Vaseline Lip Therapy Cocoa Butter. Yeah, we can't hold people at a higher regard. And I'm more inspired and more interested in people that have their financials together, that they're interested, that they're intellectual, not just because they have big muscles and they're strong. But again, I want to put emphasis on, if that's your hobby, that's your hobby, right? But make sure you have a full day of work before you go enjoy that hobby. Don't skip out of work early, or maybe not even work, period, because of you want to have time to have your hobby. If a job opportunity pops up and you already had a plan to go to the gym, or any hobby, be it, take care of that first. Don't ever let your hobbies come before your responsibilities, right? Hobbies are when you have free time. Naturally occurring free time. Now, you don't create free time by skipping out on responsibilities, And I've definitely done that, where it's like, oh, here's an opportunity to make a little bit extra money. I'm like, nah, it's because I want to go to the gym. It's like, no, you could go to the gym later, or you could just not go to the gym today and you can go to the gym tomorrow. Or you should have just woke up early and went before work and that. And you missed out on an opportunity to make some money or to further your career or whatnot. That's a controversial take, I think. I think it's going to be. But I think it's true. I think because it's something that's productive, so to say, it's not harmful to go to the gym, people are very quick to dismiss other things because they're like, well, I'm not being a bum. I'm not skipping out on this and being a bum. I'm going to the gym. It's like, when people say I'm going to read before bed every night, and then they read a page or two, but they're like, oh, okay, I might as well get some sleep. It's great for me to get extra sleep, so I don't need to keep reading. That's my take. And that's just my motivation moving forward. That's just my clarity, I guess. Which I've done it. I wrote about it with reading as well, just to really flesh out how absurd it is, this scenario. We all get it. You're reading, and you start to get that resistance to stop. Man, I really want to stop reading. I want to go do something this or that or whatnot. And you're getting this resistance to stop. When you're getting that resistance, close the book and think, okay, well, what am I going to do when I stop? And oftentimes it's like, oh, I just want to stop because I want to go on my phone or do this or that. If it's not something good, if I stop reading, oh, I should really go get those dishes done. Stop reading, or maybe read a couple more pages, stop, go get the dishes done. Excuse me. But if you can't clearly think of exactly what you want to do when you stop reading, don't stop. It's pointless. Especially if it's scrolling your phone. Like, think of how absurd this is. I'm going to, and both of them are, you're consuming some sort of material, right? When you're reading, you're consuming material. When you go to watch something on your phone, you're consuming material. One of them is beneficial, one of them is not. So when you're reading and you think, man, I really want to stop, and you kind of get like a bodily resistance, it feels like. You start thinking of other things and your eyes are kind of scrolling. You're like, man, you keep re-looking at the page because you're like, I don't even remember what it was I read on this. Your comprehension's terrible. Think, okay, I'm going to stop reading this rich book. There's so much information in this. It's good for me. It's good for my brain. It's good for my health. It's just, this is a net positive. I'm going to close this so I could just go sit and consume surface level shit on my phone. And I thought of that and I'm like, wow, that is fucking absurd. If you really break it down like that and take it for all of its parts of what it actually is, it's like, it doesn't even make sense. It's like, I'm trying to think of another example I can compare it to. Like, even with work, you get that resistance at work. Like, man, I don't want to be here anymore. I just want to go home. It's like, go home and do what? Like, if I went home right now, I'm just going to go to sleep or I'm going to eat or like, what am I going to go home to do? It's like, my girlfriend's at work. So I'm going to go home and do what? Sit on my phone? I'm in the mindset now of I want to do a lot more creating than I am consuming. Consuming digital media, per se, right? Because obviously when you're reading, you're consuming. But that's a good kind of consuming. That's consuming that I need to further my understanding of the world and gain more knowledge and become more interesting, so to say, have more topics to talk about, become more knowledgeable on just shit so I can make these videos and have more things to say. So I want to focus more on creation than consumption in all aspects. I don't need to sit and just consume a ton of YouTube videos or Netflix or whatnot. Now, have your vices. It's good to consume once in a while. Those things, Not all the time. Like, I've been hooked on Alone, which I'm going to talk about that in a second. Don't let me forget. But I think if you break it really down to its core and understand what it is, and you think to yourself, okay, I got this resistance to stop. And take a moment, understand it's a human feeling. This is a feeling that you can acknowledge. You don't just have to try to ignore it. You can acknowledge it and think to yourself, okay, I want to stop. Close the book. Well, what am I going to stop and do? I'm going to stop and watch YouTube video? I'm going to stop and go watch Netflix? Or I'm going to go stop to just go eat and watch something? It's like, what? If it's nothing productive, why don't you just keep reading? You're going to waste time? It's like, or if you really need to stop that bad, stop and just sit in silence, right? You might need a break. You might genuinely need a break. So get up and maybe go do the dishes or sweep or just sit in silence or whatever it may be. Get yourself another coffee. But if you need to be honest with yourself. And if you're honest with yourself and you say, I want to stop because I just want to scroll TikTok, that's doing nothing for anybody. But let's talk about Alone. Alone's a show that I've been hooked on lately. And for reasons that I didn't think. I've always been a survival guy. I have flint and steel. I have all these little survival gadgets and stuff. I was obsessed. I read books about it. I used to watch Survivor Man, Dual Survival, Bear Grylls, Man vs. Wild. Watch all these bushcraft YouTubers and shit. I used to go out into the woods all summer. Spend from sun up to sundown in the woods. Boiling crayfish, eating them out of the creek, and starting fires and shit with my flint and steel. Or sometimes, like, I did a couple times, like maybe 2 to 4 times with a bow drill. But So I started watching Survivor because I was like, okay, or Alone, because I'm like, I'm going to like this because inherently it's something that I'm interested in, survival. But I've become so fascinated with the mental aspect of the game, of just the mental turmoil and just the degradation of their minds in such a short time. If you're not mentally solid with yourself, if you have any self-esteem issues or whatnot, being completely alone in the wilderness and that silence and only being able to sit with just your thoughts eats these people alive so fast. Sometimes like in less than a week they have to tap, just because they start having mental breakdowns because you're forced to face your demons, your skeletons, and it eats these people alive. Like, guys start to think of like, man, have I been a shitty father, and how their parenting has been, and how the relationship with their wives have been, or the women like think like, man, have I this or that, and it's like, it's crazy how fast it deteriorates. And then you get some mentally solid people that go a long time because I don't think they have much clutter going on upstairs. Or they take advantage of the silence and the solitude, and they address that conflict that's going on. Because there's nowhere to hide. There's no distraction to hide in. You can't watch anything or you can't listen to anything. You're just nothing but nature. It forces you to confront these demons. In that confrontation, some people take advantage of this solitude and that, and they confront it and they work through it. And it's crazy how much it's not a psychological game of backstabbing or whatnot, or a psychological game of just pure determination. It's like, you need to figure out how to compartmentalize this, and how to come to grips with the problems that you might not even have known that you had just buried in there. But when you're in that silence, it's nothing but you and nature, you start to go nuts. I'm getting a phone call. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one. I had that pretty controversial take. I hope people understand it and get where I'm coming from. I don't think that we should just slander people that go to gym and fitness, but I think if you just, that's all you do and that's the only thing you have going for yourself, you shouldn't just get all the praise in the world in that. I think you need to be a multifaceted person. And just being fit gets you nowhere in life if that's all you are. So be multifaceted. Don't look at going to the gym as something that you need to be motivated for or disciplined to do or whatnot. You should want to do it because it is good for you. Eating clean, going to the gym, educating yourself. These are all things that are good for you, so why wouldn't you want to do things that are good for you? And I think if you are self-destructive or self-sabotaging, that's something deeper that you should maybe seek therapy or whatnot for. But if you think you're a mentally clear, mentally solid, okay person, and you don't have those problems of self-deprecation and whatnot, why wouldn't you go? Why wouldn't you do it, right? It's only beneficial for you. It just doesn't harm you at all. Unless you tear a pec, but that's a different story. This coffee's banging. I hope your guys' coffee was absolutely phenomenal. I hope you had a great week. The weather's starting to break, so work's starting here for me. I had work this week, and it feels good to start, getting into the swing of things and whatnot. A little bit stressful, but we keep on pushing through. I hope everybody has an amazing weekend. I will talk to you guys next Friday. Peace.